So on and off for most of my adult life, I've kept a journal. And the reason this is just because I really like to have a detailed record of my past. Plus, I've found that it has the benefits of helping to reduce my stress levels, helps me to process my thoughts and emotions, and from time to time I find that it helps me to sleep better. And so over the years of journaling, I've tried out a few different methods. I've tried journaling in a regular notebook like this. I've tried journaling on my laptop with a keyboard in something like Evernote. But recently I got an iPad Air with an Apple Pencil. And so I've been journaling more on my iPad. And I've actually found that this is probably the best journaling experience I've had yet. So in today's video, I'm going to explain why. So a big part of the reason why I like journaling is because I'm a super logical person, and writing out my thoughts on paper really helped me to process what I'm thinking. And so when I first started journaling, I started journaling on notebooks, just like this, paper notebooks. And I really enjoyed it. It was great. But then I'd filled up one notebook, and so I had to go and buy another notebook. And then once I filled that one up, I have to buy another notebook. And then eventually I had this huge pile of notebooks that was just getting a bit out of hand. They started to take up heaps of space. They were heavy and hard to store. And because I just moved out of home, I was moving around a bit. And every time I moved, I have to take this huge pile of notebooks, which was just really awkward. And aside from the fact that they just take a lot of space, they're heavy and they're hard to move, I started to realize that when I wanted to look back on what I'd written in the past, paper journals just aren't really that accessible. Like if I want to find a specific journal entry from 2016, I want to have to search through each journal, have a look, see which one I've written in 2016. And then once I've found the right journal, I have to look through all the different pages, and then eventually I might find the journal entry that I was looking for. So I realized keeping records on an analog medium like paper meant all my information just wasn't as accessible, because I was pretty used to accessing all my information digitally, which is when I started looking into journaling on my laptop. So I switched from analog journaling on a notebook to digital journaling on my laptop. And obviously the big benefit of doing it on my laptop means that I've got all my journals just in one place. I can also access them all from my phone, which is great, or my iPad, which means I'm not taking up huge amounts of space in my wardrobe or my cupboards with journals. And when I started journaling on my laptop, I used Evernote, and I've done that for the last probably 6 or 7 years, I'd say. So the big advantage for me in using Evernote over a paper journal is that you can search through all your entries in Evernote with tags as well as just keywords, which made all of my journal entries and information on my journal just so much more accessible. I didn't need to go and search through piles of notebooks. I just had them all in one place, and I could search through them all with a keyword or a date. So this is how I've been journaling up until about 9 months ago. But the thing is, I really missed something about paper journaling, and I realized that was just the act of being able to handwrite on my journal rather than type with keys. There's just something not quite the same when it comes to typing a journal on a keyboard versus when you write it with your hand with a pen. I can't quite put my finger on what the difference is, but if you've ever journaled with a laptop versus a pen, for example, you probably know what I'm talking about. There's just something about being able to handwrite that gives you more of a connection to what you're writing about. I just find it helps me to express my thoughts more clearly when I'm handwriting versus when I'm typing. It's still good when I'm typing, but it's just not quite the same. And so when I decided to get an iPad around 9 months ago, that was part of the reason why I was really keen to try it, because I'd seen that you can get an Apple Pencil with it and you can write on your tablet in digital form but have the same experience of writing on a analog paper notebook. So I got my iPad, I got my Apple Pencil, and I downloaded GoodNotes 5 and I started journaling. And so as I began to journal on my iPad with my Apple Pencil, I found that connection that I was missing from paper journaling starting to return. And the best part was that I could now write in that analog form on a digital medium, which means that number one, all my information in my journal is searchable. Within GoodNotes 5, there's an awesome feature that allows you to search through your notes digitally. So even though you haven't entered the information with a keyboard, all your handwritten notes get converted to digital text. You can also organize all your notes into notebooks and folders, which means it's all super organized and easy to access, which is the big thing that I was missing when I was doing paper journaling. The other huge benefit obviously is that it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's just all kept on the iPad and you've always got it with you. The downside being that you can't actually access your notes from a laptop or a phone. You have to have your iPad with you to be able to access the notes. But to me, that's a trade-off I'm willing to make to be able to handwrite my notes instead of having to type them with a keyboard. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that in the future GoodNotes will release an update where you can access all your notes from a desktop computer or from your phone. Now lastly, the one thing that I was a bit concerned about when it came to writing on an iPad with a Apple Pencil was just how it would feel compared to writing on paper. And I know there's a lot of people out there who recommend using a screen protector that has a texture like paper. For example, there's a paper-like screen protector that I've seen around on YouTube a lot. And I thought maybe I'd have to buy that to help me get used to the feeling of handwriting on a digital or like a glass screen. But to be honest, I've actually found writing on an iPad screen a really nice feeling. In some ways, I almost prefer the feeling of it to writing on paper. It feels really smooth to me and really nice. I don't feel like I need a screen protector at all. And yeah, I kind of almost prefer it to writing on physical paper. So all of that together pretty much is why I now pretty much exclusively journal on my iPad. I don't journal in a paper notebook anymore, and I don't journal on my laptop really much anymore. For me, I found that the iPad and Apple Pencil combination is the way to go when it comes to digital journaling. So I'm really keen to hear your thoughts. Do you journal? Do you journal on an iPad, or maybe you journal the old school way in a paper notebook? I definitely think that different mediums work for different people, and I've just personally found that a digital and analog mixed medium for me works the best. But let me know what works for you in the comments. And don't forget, I put out videos every Friday on how tech can be used to improve your life. So if you're interested in more of that sort of content, then be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you like today's video, then hit the like button, and I will see you very soon in the next video.